The drive to BRC is a quiet affair, more so the hour-long wait for nightfall. Even with the radio blasting lively tunes, the place is rife with tense energy. Only a matter of minutes now. But the ticking seconds don't take away the edge, and for the 5th time I reach out and fiddle with the radio, adjusting and turning the knobs with no real purpose. It's a nervous quirk I've developed and never bothered to correct during stakeouts. Something to keep my mind occupied during long nights. What I would give to hear Zach's, Rebecca's, or Isabella's voice right now. In another lifetime, man. Scope BRC out, see if the real estate company has any more information that may be of help. That's the plan. Cooper and Isabella both worked on it before.
Not that one. A name. You mentioned a name. Cook? Combs?
The Cooper woman? Oh yeah, you went there. Christ, Frey, at least check the reports for the other cases. Let's see. Rose Pamela Cooper, real estate agent, found dead in her flat the other day. Same modus operandi. Scene was clean, blood and entrails everywhere, whoop-de-doo, there goes my lunch, and a message written in blood.
The job. Her job. Where did you say she was working?
I didn't say anything, but it's Briar Realty, same one as this girl.
They were the agents who handled the sale of the mansion to the Wrights.
Yep. Big news, that one property. Got a relative working in that real estate company once. He was laid off a year ago, along with a few dozen employees. I actually thought they're about to go under. Guess not. But 2 employees from the same company dead in the span of a week. If I didn't know any better, I'd say they did something fishy with a deal and things somehow got awkward with the client, if you know what I mean. This might be the result.
Sure, I could also check the station for full reports. That's the easy, semi-legal way. But I don't want to bump into Chief right now. The guys at the precinct will definitely throw me out on his orders as soon as they see me. Not that my plan right now is any better. I'm just breaking into a different place, more or less. Honestly, it's a toss-up between breaking into this office or into the Wrights mansion. As it stands, I'll have an easier time getting in here first. After all, why would someone want to break into a realty company? Been here many times before anyway, for a few casual visits when I wanted to bug Scaredy Cat. Over the years, I have more or less grown familiar with their security setup and how badly staffed they are. Plus, it's an old building. If the bankruptcy rumors are true, it just means their access patrols might also be outdated. It gives me enough confidence as I exit my car and march towards the building. There are no side entrances, unfortunately. I'm going to have to do this the hard way. All things considered, though, it feels like this might go smoothly. I'm curious to see how he gets past the guard without Bella.
And where do you think you're going, young man?
Professor Andrew?
Hey there, sir. A nice night we're having, eh?
Hello yourself. It's late. Most offices in this building have already closed up shop for the weekend.
The bloke seems friendly enough, though one can't really tell from his voice alone. He might be the wary sort for all I know. Keeping an unconcerned face and aloof air won't hurt, until I figured how to wiggle myself out of the situation.
Just come back on Monday if you have important business.
He's probably been working here for a few months already. Maybe around 4 to 6 months max. Otherwise, he would have recognized me at first glance. I haven't shown my face here since I've been assigned to the firm case a year ago. In the first place, none of their security officers ever lasted a year in service. The longest was around 7.5? I'll give this guy around that before he gets fired or finds a better paying job. For the moment, his too friendly attitude is almost a gift.
Really? Damn. Boss man won't be too happy to hear that.
Boss man?
Sorry, it's my boss, Mr. John. He asked me to get a few things from his table. Important work stuff, you know.
Sir John?
John? From Briar Realty?
The one and only. But, this sucks. I didn't realize the office closes early on weekends. Shouldn't have stayed for another movie. Damn. I'm gonna get an earful later. New hire, you see?
Good thing Isabella has been quite open with stories from her office, no matter how mundane they all are. Granted, she rarely talks about her boss, but what I've gleaned from it is enough to fabricate a decent, believable story. He paid attention enough to know her boss's name was John. I'm impressed.
Your new hire lawyers are always so dumb and clueless, I swear. You guys come and go a lot these days, but I suppose that's because they pay you a lot less in commission than the older agents, huh?
You can say that again. But it's nothing hard work can't fix.
Sure, you can do that, if this branch stays afloat.
What do you mean?
You know, stuff in the news.
You mean what happened with Rose Cooper?
Patience is the key. I can't rush this one or he'll get suspicious. Or I might make a mistake. Besides, if I am going to be stuck here with him for a while, I might as well try to gather as much intel as I can. He may just be a guard, someone with no real authority, but most of the time, people like him are the ones who know more than they let on.
Yeah, but even before that, we've got a couple of good blokes we never saw again. There was this one kid, too, Santillion? Sanchez?
Santos. Isabella.
Really? Those guys could have just resigned for all you know.
Dunno, I only catch tidbits of stuff from over here. Though seriously, I heard the branch is getting flushed soon, but that's no excuse for anarchy. You're the third newbie he's sent running errands this week. I can't keep letting you all in after office hours. I'll get in trouble too, you know?
Come on, just a few minutes.
There's a long pause from his end, as if he's contemplating his options. A little push is all it needs before he gives in.
You know how fickle the boss's moods can be.
Well, yeah, but...
Please, I really need to get those files to him tonight.
All right, go ahead. I swear you young ones have no respect for authority. Use the side entrance. I've already locked up the main door. I'm not gonna open that even if you give me puppy eyes.
Ha!
Thanks, I owe you one.
Using the side door presents a different problem, however. It needs an access card, one I don't have. I could always pry it open and use a gecko, but right under the guard's watch?
There's just this one problem.
What is it again?
I forgot my access card.
I make a show of facing the security cameras, pulling my empty pockets out and presenting him the sorriest look I can muster.
Bloody hell, kids these days.
Is there any way for you to...
Boy, you're lucky I'm nice.
Boy.
I'll go and unlock the side entrance for you then. You can use my card, it's on the front desk.
Such a nice security guard.
You'll need to beep in when you report for proper work on Monday, though. And don't forget to turn off the lights before you leave, Kate?
He cuts off the connection before I can thank him. Soon the latch clicks and the side door swings open. The guard, a stout man, wearing a uniform still too loose for him, waves me over from the gap before he disappears behind his station again. Just my luck. Here I thought I'd have to use unconventional methods. Sure, I might be getting the guy in trouble. I kinda feel sorry for that. But it's not like he'll be keeping the job for long if he's always letting people in like that. If BRC doesn't have long either, he'll be job hunting sooner or later anyway. He's lucky I'm not here to hurt anyone. If I were someone with ill intentions, he might not be smiling at the end of the day. Of course, as I step into the building and grab his access card, I try to push all of these concerns as far down as I can. I need to focus. Work is work. Although this is a sign of what's to come, that maybe things are indeed looking up. You haven't heard from your friends yet, so It's a quiet ride up to the 7th floor where the BRC Luxburn main office is. Seb, according to his access card, has been kind enough to switch the elevator's power on just as I'm about to head for the fire exit stairs. Which is a welcome relief. I'm an active guy, but stairs? I don't want to tire out too quickly in case things get ugly. I'm assuming, like, a lot of this is similar, but of course Bella's not here, so this might all be treated as new text, but I just want to see. Okay, just wanted to confirm that. There probably won't be any trouble with the building this quiet, but you never know. I swear, the whole place definitely feels eerie at this time of night. But until I've confirmed anything, those are still just stories. Worse things can happen. No need to scare myself. Staying calm means fewer mistakes.
Oh, I sure am fucking gutsy, especially with what I'm doing.
So fucking gutsy. I'm breaking a lot of laws here. Best thing that can come out of this is that Isabella was right all along. Worst case scenario? I find evidence that would implicate BRC or Luke Wright in a crime, and my meddling, if I'm not careful enough, makes it inadmissible in court. Though I'll be honest, I strongly prefer losing my job or facing Wright over some spirit or ghost or whatever it is. I could always work around the problems with the former. Fighting off a phantom? How does one even do that? Do guns even work with them? Books.
Yeah, not going to happen.
But tonight I'm here to fix things. If I do it without leaving a trail, all the better. Good thing that's what I'm good at. Half-baked knowledge. Don't have the other half of my team here. The immediate area beyond the elevator doors sees the agent stations. There's a lot more to the floor, of course, but first order of business as soon as I'm in. Locate the records room, then the security. Passing the sea of cubicles, I can't help but take in everything in their office. A force of habit, for the most part. As far as I know, BRC Luxburn used to own this whole building. Offices in several floors, once upon a time, when real estate is still a lucrative business for the company in this side of the country. Then, competition showed up, and suddenly, everything's not so good anymore. It only got worse as the years went by, or so according to the rumors. Now the branch is just this floor, despite what the huge sign in the building's facade says. And frankly, it's not too hard to believe when one looks at the state of this room right now. A number of desks have been cleared out. Personal mementos are scarce, as if the employees have gone on an exodus. That'll be the downsizing. Probably. Searching for what I need would be a whole lot easier if Isabella were here. Maybe she'd even tell me more about the sudden layoffs. She had always been...
Focus, Frey. There's no point in whining or dwelling any longer on it. That's why I'm here in the first place.
Without her, I'll just have to do this the old-fashioned way. I'm a detective, aren't I?
Besides, the longer I take here, the riskier the situation becomes.
Brushing it all off, I immediately get to work. On the far wall of the main workspace, plaques label most of the doors for easy identification. The staff lounge and the branch manager's office are places I'm familiar with, and they're easily the most accessible of the private rooms. To the right of the manager's office is the meeting room and human resources. To its far left, the records, followed by security further back. Easy as pie. What will be tricky is getting inside both rooms. The security room first. The fact that no one has walked out when I entered means the room is either empty or their guards sound asleep. I'm banking more on the former. If they're cutting corners and firing agents, I have no doubts that they fired the guy stationed here. If they have anyone watching the monitors in the first place. I mean, someone obviously died in that security office because it smelled so much like bleach. It's a rather common thing for establishments. Just leave security recording indefinitely and only check the footage if something actually happens. Just to check, I press my ears against the door, listening for a sign of anyone occupying the room. After a long minute of nothing, I move back towards the records door and give its knob a few rattles. Time to get to work.
Standard lock and key. Should be easy enough to pick.
We have lockpick sets, but those are only to be used if necessary, and with a search warrant. Even then, it's a skill set rarely needed. Subtlety isn't on a cop's priority if they have authority to search the premises. Bolt cutters and brute force are the favored methods. If those fail, we call a locksmith. Me, I prefer the good old hairpin trick when those options aren't available. Besides, they're easy to hide and store for emergencies. Running my hand through my hair, I pull a pair of bobby pins. Dang. 2 of these, and I can just about open any standard lock. One makes a lever, and the other makes a handle. I won't call it a complex skill, but it certainly takes time and a lot of practice to successfully pick a lock. Good thing I practiced with them for a bit in my college years. I learned more when they're accessible and standard issue for a law enforcement officer. A wiggle here, a click there, and I managed to seize all the pins in the locking mechanism soon enough. With a slight turn of the knob, the records room's ripe for the picking.
Easier said than done. Now, where should I start looking?
The property files are probably my best bet, as well as the people who worked on it, including Isabella and Rose Cooper. The sign-in forms from the open house can also help me track the clients. But it's a little too far-fetched to think those people have been affected. It would have been news now. Isabella has already found the letter by the time the open house has started. Besides, out of all the visitors, it's only with the right couple who Isabella and Cooper has had a notable interaction with, one that led to the sale of the mansion. So for the next half of the hour, I work in complete silence, digging into every files compiled in the Ermengarde Mansion folder. The client files I leave alone, like the sign forms. Better narrow this down as early as possible. My best bet are still the people who have worked closely with Cooper, Isabella, and BRC itself. After all, that's where the connection is. Not an easy task, considering how thick the whole thing is. Just the correspondence and contracts for the restoration alone makes up a stack of papers that's an inch thick. Third-party service providers hired by for the masonry, radiators, woodworking, plasterwork, slate roofing, and a whole bunch of other things are well documented. Hell, every single contractor who worked on the project were listed individually, even if they were just there to do the plumbing. It's a high-profile and high-cost estate, all right. But with that scope comes the loopholes. Means plenty of room to hide something in if there's something fishy going on. All I have to do is find a pattern. And it doesn't take long. Upon closer glance, despite the original owners shouldering the renovation costs, it'll be surprising if they've managed to break even on the Ermengarde Mansion. What with the additional expenses for the open house, the commission for their agents, and other overhead fees. At one point, the negotiations to get it listed under BRC's name also almost broke down too. Some disagreement about the listing price. The owners wanted to be rid of it as quickly as possible while keeping the worth at a profitable level. BRC was insisting on a higher amount, double what the appraisers suggested. This, plus the rumor that their branch is closing? BRC Luxburn really is in the red, and the sale of the mansion could have easily been a desperate move to keep the branch afloat.
No wonder the final sale happened as fast as it did. Sheesh, this place is just unlucky. Going bankrupt while the rest of this crap is happening?
But this isn't what I'm looking for. What I need is the who. The people aside from Isabella and Cooper involved in this business with the mansion, and the how they are now. I can't do much with the outside contractors. They won't be on file. The employee list, on the other hand. Because if Isabella was to be believed, if what she's seen and what happened to Rose Cooper is because of that letter, I need to know everyone who has possibly read it aside from the three of us, if they've been noticing strange things, too. For all I know, these may have just been a terrible coincidence. Although the thought of that starts to diminish as I dig into the BRC's company files. Turns out there were 2 more employees who handled the mansion directly, aside from Cooper and Isabella. Christian Sy, the realty specialist, and Mark Julius Jean-Marie, the estate appraiser.
This C guy, he was in custody just the other day.
Sorry, C. Folks at the precinct said they went to his house after a noise complaint. They found him acting all crazy and had to take him in when he started getting violent. Kept screaming about a woman. It was driving the guards mad, but he didn't last too long. A few hours in, he just started bashing his own head against the wall, and, well, it was messy, to say the least. Guy's in the hospital right now, and I heard they're looking into putting him into a psychiatric ward as soon as he recovers. Within the company, he's been marked AWOL. Jean-Marie, on the other hand, his employee file notes his date of leaving, and even when his final payment had been given. Along with it, there's a letter to his family about the appraiser being found dead in the office. Communication is hush-hush, and there's mention of compensation if they don't talk about it to the media. Inspector Abigail has often scolded me for not reading the reports on a regular basis, but I try to keep up to date as much as I can. When I do, I make sure I'm aware of the gist of what's going on in my city. This never reached the police's ears or the health and safety executive.
Business going under and someone dies while working here? Of course they want to keep that quiet. It's bad publicity. This whole thing is just getting freakier by the minute.
I continue flipping through the documents for a while more. It's a quarter of an hour later when I put down the papers with a sigh and begin placing the folders where they belong. Aside from those 2, I found nothing else of note. Alright. Where are we? To search for answers, Ashton broke into the Briar Realty Corporation's Luxburn office that night. Although the files he found revealed the real deal with the mansion's sale, somehow it all still felt lacking. Okay, so Hannah's been killed. It's early this morning that Zach gets discovered. Okay, so it's tomorrow that Rebecca calls. And then the day after that Zach is killed. Okay. I feel like I'm still missing a lot of things here. But it's about time I leave. I've taken too long. I make a short work of creating duplicates out of everything I've deemed important. The pages with the names, addresses, and contact numbers will do. I'll start with the ones who live within the city. Once I've finished, I tuck the duplicates under my arm and bring the originals back to their proper place. With that done, I lock the door behind me, tugging it twice just to make sure. I have my work cut out for me. It's not like I can ask for backup from the force. Now, on to the next order of business. Removing the evidence of my little excursion in here. Can't have my face plastered on security footage showing me breaking the law, as it were. I'm gonna have to wipe the data for Seb's access card entries too, so I won't incriminate the poor guy. Same with the records room. The security is also using a standard lock and key. Good thing, my trusty bobbies are always here for me. Without much difficulty, I find myself facing the security monitors. Hey, lady. You still here? The room's odor hits me first. A sharp, nauseating stench, as if someone has accidentally spilled a gallon of bleach in the room. When was the last time they opened this place?
Ugh, this place smells awful. Jesus, it's worse than the forensics lab on a bad day.
This is probably because of a badly botched effort to clean the place up. Even in the dark, I can spy dark stains on the walls. I really don't have the time to try and play, is this ketchup or soda right now, but I have this strange gut feeling who the mess might belong to. As expected, no security personnel mans the office's Okay, let's try this again. As expected, no security personnel mans the office's CCTV controls, and the standalone DVR setup is open for anyone. Normally, I'd have a heap of things to say about this sloppy security setup, but right now, their negligence makes the whole task of erasing evidence easier.
No fuss, no muss.
The next one should be the access card data. Hopefully, getting into their computer won't be too much of a hassle. Everything up to now has been smooth sailing. There have been hiccups, I'll give it that, though it does nothing to dampen the good mood I'm in. Once I shift my attention to the machines sitting next to the DVR setup, all of it swiftly evaporates. I am no computer buff, but I can definitely recognize one more than a decade old. Simply looking at it makes me feel younger. I have no other choice, however, unless I pull the douche card and leave Seb to whatever trouble he might get into. I don't have the heart for such a thing, after all the help the old man has unknowingly lent me tonight. With a heavy sigh, I power it up and mentally prepare myself for a slow slug. Slow, apparently, remains an understatement here. It takes a whole 3 minutes for the thing to start up. The OS hasn't even started loading, and in my boredom, I start inspecting the live feeds from the cams. Only 2 works. One for the view outside, everything seems to be in order there, and the other for main workspace where. It's a fleeting glimpse, a cursory glance, but the sight of it stops me. Here she comes. The image is a bit blurry, but standing there right in the middle of the room by one of the cubicles, I can make out the form of a...
What the hell is...
I don't get too far into that line of thought. No few seconds after my words have slipped out, without any sort of warning, while I'm still trying to make sense of what it is. A moment of paralysis hits me when she stops right in front of the camera. Like a damn rookie, I go still in the face of danger. There she is. I definitely haven't been trained to handle the supernatural, and this is one, isn't it? And... oh, fuck. Her eyes bore into me, the malice in them piercing. Even beyond the screen, it's enough to make me go numb. Only the mug crashing to the floor when my hand accidentally takes a swipe at it snaps me out of the trance. Without second thought, I back away from the controls, from the room, ready to be done with this place. But before my foot even moves, she disappears.
Son of a...
Ah! Instinct instantly takes over, and my hand quickly reaches for the gun at my side, only to meet empty air. A mistake that cost me a few precious seconds, while the paperwork I brought with me threatens to scatter everywhere at the same time. Gathering everything and myself once more, with no weapon to protect myself, my sense of self-preservation kicks in next and I lunge towards the door. I sprint across the office without daring to look back. As soon as I make it out of the office, I practically throw myself into the open elevator and slam the button for the ground floor. A sigh of relief escapes from me when the elevator starts its descent. The clicking noise fades off into the distance. Shifting the stack of papers under my arm, I lean back and wait in an attempt to compose myself. Breathe. In. Out. This isn't the right spot. In a matter of seconds, the elevator stops and the doors open too. There's a moment's pause while I take in my surroundings. Confusion's understandably there, along with frustration.
Are you kidding me? They should just replace this whole thing.
I'm quite sure I pressed for the ground floor, though. But it's an old building. The elevator always did have problems when I visited in the past. Even Isabella becomes so angry whenever we try to get to her floor, and she'll have to repeatedly smash the button for the elevator to even move. That was always good for a laugh. I wasn't too worried then. Now, from the distance, beyond the light's reach, the noise echoes in my ears along with the rapid pounding in my chest.
Anyone there?
Every time.
I can hear you moving from here. Show yourself.
You're not fooling me, ghost. No response, only the soft sound of something scurrying around the floor and the walls in slow, deliberate movements. Faint, though still audible enough in this hush. Until it stops. A moment. And then. This time I'm certain it isn't my imagination. Against my training, my whole body stiffens. Hands stilling mid-press on the button, eyes growing wide while waiting for any sort of movement from further back, and ears strained for the source of the sound. Much as I hate to admit it, dread has seeped into every nerve in my body. And the blasted elevator still won't work!
This isn't in my fucking training manual!
Well, she thought that was funny. Another series of shuffling against the ground, a laughter, and all of a sudden, she's just there. Like a twisted spider, she stares at me, a look of hunger in her eyes and venom in the twisted manner she smiles. A glee she has well earned when I'm a damn fly that has been dropped right onto the spider's web.
Damn it! Damn it!
Without warning, she moves, mocking me with each unhurried crawl she takes, knowing I'm at her mercy.
Fucking hell, work, you stupid!
My life is in the hands of a crummy elevator, literally hanging between life and death. I'm not going to die here. Not in a damn elevator! Oh, wow, it just closed. As if a divine power has heard me swearing up a storm in my head, the doors close just as that thing looms near. Soon, the elevator, the blasted thing, is headed up. And this? This is the most I've been tired my whole damn life. Not during training, when my superior first asked me to drop 100. Not after a stakeout. But after smashing a fucking elevator button repeatedly. I slump to the ground, worn out, but I don't let myself feel relief again. Not until I'm out of here. Still, I find myself letting out a shaky laugh.
Fuck, I should have taken the goddamn stairs.
Now you're getting it. Twice I've seen it. Thrice if I include the party. Unless I'm tripping balls without realizing it, there's no doubt in my mind that this is actually happening. I don't want to believe it. But with the truth staring at me in the face, it'll be stupidity to deny the reality of the matter. Alright, let's read the journal. About facing down the ghost alone. And the very helpful... Oh, he's all by himself. Bella would have been here otherwise. Having found what he needed from the office, Ashton beat a quick exit, making sure not to leave evidence of his break-in. On his way out, however, the elevator malfunctioned and dropped him in the building's basement parking instead, where a familiar face welcomed him. As soon as the lift hits the ground floor, I hightail out of the building. Seb's sound asleep when I pass by his station, hopefully not dead. However, in the face of what I've seen, everything I've faced tonight, I really can't care less who will still see me on my way out. The sooner I get away from this place, the farther, the better. I'm just not sure if that also means being safe. She almost got me, damn it. The fucking thing almost had me. Shit, it was only by luck that I managed to get the fucking elevator unstuck. Had the blasted thing not worked in the last second. I need some air. Fresh, breathable air that doesn't stink like death and gore all at once. I'm panicking. Christ! Losing focus. I can't afford that right now. I can't lose it when Zach and Rebecca might be in trouble as well.
Remember your training, Frey.
Another deep breath, and soon I'm starting the engines and driving off. After that little incident, somewhere open would be good. Someplace I won't get trapped. Luxburn Park brings a welcome relief, though only by some. The chill that has seeped in my bones is still there, furling and unfurling underneath my skin. If I don't move, if I don't busy myself with anything, soon my brain will go haywire. It's the last thing I want to happen when there are plenty of things to do. But this already answers all of it, doesn't it? Those deaths. Just how many copies of the letter are out there? Isabella can't have the only one if other people are also getting cursed. Could it be that the one she has shown us is just one of 5? Maybe even more? That whole pass this to 5 people business is ridiculous, but at this point, is it still? All in all, I found 2 deceased people who might have read the letter. 4, if we count Cooper as well as Isabella. And that's only with what I can find right now. I have no idea how the contractors and specialists hired from outside the company are doing, if they are in any way affected. How many more people are suffering? How many are missing? How many are dead? Can I still even blame the Wrights for this? If anything, they might be in danger as well. I don't think I can wish a curse upon anyone, no matter how big of a douchebag Luke Wright is. There's also that woman. How do we get out of this mess? How do we get away from her? Shit. Still so many things we need to look into. Yet all my body wants to do is pace, burn out whatever excess energy there is in me.
I'm not going crazy, am I? I saw that. I'm pretty sure I saw that. I didn't inhale anything weird. Just shit. Shit.
Of course, the panic passes soon, replaced by another tense silence as everything sinks in. The awareness of the much bigger trouble looming over me, us. We're in deep shit, and it has finally caught up and hit me like a ton of bricks. Because Isabella has been warning us of this since day 1, and I'm the first person who brushed it off. Suddenly exhausted, I slump down on a bench and bury my face in my hands, as every regret bears down on me. And in the stillness of the park, a plea slips out.
Isabella, what am I supposed to do? Tell me, please.
A desperation, after all my failures, after all the things I've disregarded. All at cost of the people I care about. Oh, this delightful music. Darkness blurs the edges of my vision. Black tendrils twist and coil around my limbs. Soft footfalls echo from the far distance, scurrying, scampering, moving in an odd rhythm with the sharp, piercing notes of her laughter. A scream threatens to burst, but my throat closes off. Ever so slowly, a chill seeps into every nerve in my body, washing away every sensation in me apart from one. There is only fear. Once again, her laughter echoes, a sound both bitter and unforgiving. It is the last thing I hear before she reaches for me. The ground trembles. The world slows to a stop. Morning breaks in a blurry mess of vivid shapes and colors. Okay. So he woke, I think, after the elevator scene, he and Bella went to her apartment. And she made, like, that chocolate porridge thing. So he slept in the park. My goodness. Oddly, there's no feeling of terror or confusion gripping me, despite the vague images that has driven me from sleep. Awareness kicks in shortly, though slow and sluggish, as I blink away the last remnants of unconsciousness from my eyes. The early morning light already streams from the open windows when the memory sets in and the room I'm in finally comes into focus. Ah yes, the room known as outside. Not a room. My car. Ah, okay. You didn't just sleep on a bench. Gotcha. I've bunkered down here last night after my nerves have calmed. When you almost get trapped in a confined space, there's no question about staying somewhere open. Not again. I think he should be getting a phone call soon. She might appear any time. She won't catch me off guard again. That woman. Is she still one in the first place? One that we'd normally call a human? Can it still feel guilt? Does it understand pain? Fuck, I take breaking and entering charges over whatever she was any day. Pushing myself upright, my eyes wander idly towards a mess of papers I've gathered from BRC last night. A proof that none of it is a dream, no matter how much I wish for it. Then it shifts to the view outside, right to the line of trees and winding pathways. There are some already strolling about the place. A few people here and there, dotting the space my eyes can reach, but otherwise the whole park is empty. Quiet. For some reason, I can't stand the silence right now. Not when that woman's face has been burned in my eyelids. Whenever I close my eyes, I see her. It's a miracle I'm still able to get a few hours of sleep, even with that horrid laughter of hers still ringing in my ears. But then maybe it's simply my exhaustion at work. You'd think I'm used to going 48 hours, maybe even more, without rest. And I am. But what happened at BRC has shaken me up like nothing else has. Thugs and criminals, hell, even crime lords, I can deal with. But ghouls and the undead?
Oh, I didn't sign up for that.
Seriously, this better not be the start of some sort of zombie apocalypse. Actually, maybe a zombie thing would be preferable. I'd at least know what I need to do. Shoot dead stuff until they're dead for good, and leave figuring out how everything went to hell to the scientists.
Thinking about it won't change anything, though. She's just toying with our lives.
She's dangerous. If we don't do anything about her and this curse, we'll definitely be pushing daisies soon. I can't let what happened to Isabella happen to the others as well. I've dallied on this long enough, left all my friends in harm's way after the warnings they've given me. I do admit I'm afraid. But beneath the terror, adrenaline keeps me running, compels me to take action. To do something. I still have 2 other people I need to check with. Isabella would definitely get in a tizzy if I don't check on them. God, I should have listened to Isabella. Maybe I don't need to outright believe her, but I should have listened. Then maybe she wouldn't be. There's no point dwelling on what-ifs and should-haves. I can't do anything about the past. What I should be caring about is what might happen. That I can do something about. With one last sigh, I start my car and slowly pull off the parking lot. Zach has already been warned yesterday. I trust him not to do anything stupid. Rebecca, on the other hand, we ended on a bad note last time. Might as well mend things with her first. Here we go. Cold Luxburn air meets me upon slipping out of my car. Not unusual in itself. This is what Luxburn's weather is supposed to be. A bit cold, damp for the most part, and more often than not, terribly drab with an occasional sprinkling of rain every few hours. The sky is still clear, but I'll give it a day or two before the weather takes a turn for the worse. I've complained about the awful rains for years, despite having lived here my entire life. I have to admit, though, seeing it return to the usual feels extremely reassuring. At least something's still normal in the world, when I can no longer think the same for the situation we're in. A nightmare. That's probably all this is. Usually I'll say, I've been through worse. But that's simply another lie I've often told myself, isn't it? And I fed myself a great deal of lies through the years, just so I won't have to think about it the next day. Maybe we won't even have this problem if I haven't been running away and ignoring things, hiding them someplace no one will see, because I've since believed doing so is a show of weakness. Zach's probably right. Perhaps I've always been afraid that my own incompetence might be at fault with what happened to Isabella. After all, it's true. And now, after it has stared at me right in the face, I'm at a loss. I've no clue how to deal with it. Scared shitless to boot.
The fuck do I know about ghosts, though?
What is Zach? What is Rebecca? Seaman has shown me photographs, mentioned weird things happening around him these past few days. Bottom line, he likely knows as much about this as I do. Why else would he approach me? The guy who knows stuff, according to him. In the end, all I've done is give him the brush off. Some reliable guy I am. Hell, Rebecca's probably in the same boat, grasping for anything that might provide an answer, a way out of this. What can any of us do when all of us lacks any understanding of what's happening? One thing's clear about this, however. That thing is after us because of the letter. Isabella already died because of it. Yet, here I am, walking up Becca's door one slow step at a time. A stalling tactic to allow myself some time to put the mess in my head in a better order. How to phrase this? When there's a 90% chance she's still pissed about a whole different matter. It's the only reason I didn't check on her last night. I'll only alarm her by showing up in her home in the middle of the night, acting like a babbling lunatic. And her anger can last quite a while. These past years, it seemed the only one she had been able to easily forgive was Isabella. I kinda wish she were here to help me talk to her. I run my hand through my hair and straighten out my jacket before knocking. Once, twice, and 3 times just to be sure Becca has heard me, even if she is asleep. She's usually awake by now, though.
Hey, Becca, it's Ash. Open up. Don't tell me you're still in bed.
Seconds tick by. No answer from her, and dread has started to creep up. I've been trained to handle dire situations, but the feeling has been doing that quite frequently since last night. My mind begins to anticipate the worst, and in the next minute concern is mixed in with my thoughts, and I bang my fist on the door. Louder this time. She'll definitely be livid, but I'd rather face her wrath than a dead body.
Becca, it's Ash. There's something we need to talk about right away. Open up, I know you're...
Your girlfriend left early this morning, pretty boy. So if you could do us a bloody favor and shut up, that'd be real fucking polite.
My hand pauses short of landing another heavy knock. From the other unit, Rebecca's other neighbor peeks in through his door, though I see nothing but a bundle of blankets. I'll say they need help from being devoured by their sheets, but it sounds like he's just fine. He's a huge asshole, too. Course of action, so people like him won't ruin your day? Act like the nicest person on the planet, which you fail at miserably. Has done me wonders when I was a rookie patrolling the streets. No need to match his temper.
Oh, did she say where she was going?
I don't know. She said something about meeting someone or something. Well, what am I, her keeper? You know, some people want to sleep in on a bloody Sunday, so keep it down. Just looking forward to this weekend. Thanks, you damn git.
Well, there's no need to be an ass about it. I'll get out of your...
He slams his door shut without warning, but not before muttering a string of very colorful words about me. Probably thinks I won't hear him inside the 4 walls of his apartment.
Jerk.
Probably doesn't care. And at the end of it, a sigh. So Rebecca's not here. I must have missed her by an hour or so. But at least she's not alone. She should be safe. In theory. More so if the person she's meeting with is who I am thinking. Nevertheless, I still can't help but worry. It's an easy thing, continuing down increasingly darker lines of thought. To act brashly, to find out where she is and go straight there, without deliberating on my actions first. There's Zach, to boot. Rebecca's not alone, but I can't say the same for the big guy. A simple phone call to the both of them should do the trick. It'll ease my nerves at any rate. It's better than rushing over to Zach's place, or assuming Rebecca's whereabouts and finding out they're not where I've guessed they should be. Assuming the worst will come next, which I'd rather avoid this early. Any other reason, I won't bother them, but an emergency begs for urgency. This is one, right? Even if it isn't, anxiety from concern dulls judgment. Something I most certainly can't afford to lose at any given time, especially right now. Any means to calm it will do wonders for the muddled mess my mind is already in. Pulling up my phone, I thumb through the screen until it ends up on a group with only Zach's, Rebecca's, and Isabella's numbers listed. The last one I don't have the heart to remove yet. Other people will probably say I keep too few friends when they chance on this. To some extent, it's true. I can easily name about 100 people I've been acquainted with through the years. Colleagues, blockmates from uni, neighbors, those sort of people. They all come and go. But these three have chosen to stay for some reason, without wanting or asking for anything. Unlike the others, none has Zach's kindness, Rebecca's patience, nor the sincerity in Isabella's eyes. One day, these guys are just there. The next thing I know, being with them eases it. That heavy, somber feeling lingering in the air when you stand alone in your apartment, or something as simple as spending your day off without anyone. I'll say it's loneliness, but this carries much more depth than that. If I can help it, I don't want to lose the rest of them to some stupid curse. I've already lost one. A phone call may be the least comforting thing at the moment. Honestly, I prefer being in the same room with them right now, but I'll take what I can get. Becca first. She'll get angry at me for worrying about her. She isn't some helpless damsel in distress, after all. She isn't the shy little girl I knew when we were children. We're already far from the people we were back then, but that's more than enough reason to check in on her. I don't have to imagine her taking anything head-on. She'll do it instead of asking for help when she needs it. I don't care if she gets mad at me, if only to know that she's fine. A ring. In the silence of the hallway, its sound alone might as well be sharp enough to pierce through my ears. Another second passes. 2. 3. But when, on the 9th ring, it goes straight to her voicemail, a cold feeling instantly lodges in my stomach.
Rebecca Gale's here. You've reached my voicemail. Sorry if I can't get to you right now. Oh, and if this is Isabella, yes, you're free to reheat the food in my fridge. Otherwise, leave a message.
Probably just busy, that's all. Though I still barely manage to keep my voice even when I speak.
Hey, Becca, call me back when you're free. We need to talk. ASAP.
Becca will be alright. Is alright. She's safe. She's with someone else. Unfortunately, the someone else is a ghost. In the event that woman shows up, she'll have someone with her. Someone she'll be able to ask for help. She's safe. She can handle herself. Becca might have a fiery temper, but she knows when she's faced with something she can't handle herself. Rebecca will see my missed call and she'll call me back. Though I don't express it enough, Rebecca is someone I consider important to me. She's been my friend for the longest. Anybody else would have been fed up with me and left. The girl's stuck by me, no matter how big of a jerk I've been. There's Zach too, of course. I'll always be thankful for having them around. There had been Isabella as well. Her presence in my life will always be immutable, even if she's no longer here. The worst times before, however, Becca was there. No one believes it when I say it, but I've surely had my awful moments as a bratty kid and as a horrible teen. Issues. I've too many of them to count and refuse to deal with for a time. At least that's what Andrew likes to tell me. I tend to think nothing of it. It has mellowed down over the years, thanks to the professor mostly. But at times, I do wonder if it still burdens me the way it did all those years ago. After all, I was terrible, especially around the time of my parents' separation. Looking back at it now, I had no reason to direct all my frustration towards everyone else. While I wasn't a kid who lashed out at anyone, preferring to keep it to myself and turning those negative feelings into more productive things, I've grown distant from a lot of people because of it. From my old friends back in my old school and the neighbors I've hung out with before moving. A habit I've likely brought with me into adulthood. I was just so angry with everyone and everything. All I kept thinking about was myself, wondering, why me? In retrospect, I was a selfish little bastard who thought the world revolved around me. That I shouldn't have been going through it. I believed my behavior was entitled, that I had the right. Tough times, but she stuck with me. Snapped me out of my little sulk, as she often phrases it whenever she sees the chance to bring it up. She didn't tolerate my bullshit, but she didn't leave me alone either. If anything, the whole thing made her stick around. Her concern may have grown a bit too overbearing as the years went by, but she's still an old friend nevertheless. I owe her a lot. That won't change.
Damn it. Where are you, Becca?
Another message left on her voicemail, then on my third call I hang up. For the time being, I can't do anything more than to wait for her to return my calls. Worrying aimlessly won't get me anywhere. Zach, on the other hand, that guy attracts trouble no matter how much he tries to avoid it. Doesn't help how he hasn't been too hot lately with a lot of people. His mention of plans yesterday doesn't sit too well with me either. He might be the next responsible adult after Rebecca, out of the four of us, but I've still got to check on the big guy. Make sure he's doing okay, at the very least, whatever he has planned on doing. All I'm asking is for it not to be idiotic. He's a sensible guy, also sensitive, I'm sure. However, desperation clings and pushes people to do things. Rational or irrational, it doesn't matter. Clear thinking flies out the window the moment you're in danger, and I sincerely hope he has not found himself in a tricky situation. His phone doesn't even ring before he answers. Or his voicemail, at least.
Hey, it's Zach. Well, a voicemail anyway. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. So, just leave a message, yeah? And no, Ash, you're not allowed to lockpick your way into my apartment again. Just do what any other decent human being does and call if I'm not around. Thanks.
Did he turn it off? Why? I don't want to assume the worst yet. Maybe he has forgotten to charge it. Can't be. The guy can be a bit of a Boy Scout, even more than I am as a cop. He's the type who has an extra battery or a power bank in his bag if he ever needs it. And he always does. He won't say anything or brag about it, but he's got quite a roster of VIP freelance clients. He won't just leave his phone dead in case he's on the field, particularly when people will likely be looking for him. He always leaves his connection open whenever clients or his friends need him. Zach is reliable like that.
Why isn't anyone answering?
They're dead, Ash. His mobile in an out-of-range area sounds more plausible, although the thought of it doesn't completely shake off the unease. Unlike Rebecca and I, he took the time to listen to what Isabella said, and even if he didn't believe it, he was definitely the first one to offer help or try to do something. If he ends up in trouble doing whatever it is, so help me, I'm going to... Well, I can't be rash. I'm aware of that. Been running the same reminder in my head since last night. But if something happens, I'm certain my reaction won't be pretty. The added guilt from those times I repeatedly dismissed him will surely haunt me.
Yo, Zach, call me back, alright? I wanted to check in and, yeah, just please call me back.
It's usually a joke between us when I say he's the Watson to my Sherlock. Oh. I don't see him as some assistant to put aside until he's needed, like some people like to believe, though. He's not some pity friend I keep around to make myself look good.
If anything, he's the one who stayed by me out of pity.
Zach's the one who puts up with me most of the time, even when he doesn't need to. It's not a case of a cool cop who helped out a minority. In truth, I was a hard-headed, hot-tempered, and reckless rookie. Up until I met him. It wasn't anything sudden, and some part of me is still that rookie. But I've grown thanks to him. He tempers that part of me. Considering how our first impressions went, I'm lucky he stuck around. Becca and I may have spent a lot of years together as children, but Zach, he's probably the closest thing I'll call to a best friend, though it's more than that. A camaraderie no words can express. He has my back, and I'll always have his. He's a brother I've never had the luck of ever having, only child and all.
And I have every reason to worry about my brother.
Becca's neighbor did say she went out to meet with someone, no specific names. If I'm wrong and she's not with Professor Clark, then maybe it's with Zach. They've never been close, but it's not the kind of awkward friendship where meeting together remains out of the question. Regardless, I continue dialing for his phone another 3 times like I've done with Becca's. In the end, after the 3rd attempt with no one answering, I stop and cut the call with a ragged exhale.
Waiting game it is, then.
Let's read about it. It's just before. After that close call, Ashton spent the night at the park only to be kept awake by nightmares. At an utter loss, and with all of his beliefs overturned, Ashton decided to check on Zachary and Rebecca. Unfortunately, the latter wasn't in her apartment, and neither returned his calls. I've been trained for those. Hell, I'm used to them, just not when it comes to people I'm close to. Much as I keep reminding myself to maintain a level head, it's a whole different matter when it's someone you know. Isabella's death has proven that. Personal feelings will likely get involved at some point. It's starting now, actually, with the anxious strings coiling and uncoiling, causing a racket inside my stomach. It still annoys me that all I can do right now is grit my teeth and trudge back to Isabella's apartment. Useless. That's what I am in the face of this. A mad dash around Luxburn and Anslim isn't going to help things. It's not like I'll simply stumble across them on the side of the road during a drive. The city's a too big place for one person to go searching for only two people.
That'd be like finding a needle in a haystack.
With one last frustrated glance towards the open skies, I prepare myself for the long wait. I might have already grown used to this, but the waiting will always be the hardest part. More so when it's the people you care about. And sure enough, boredom strikes minutes later, followed closely by anxiety. I need to be doing something, but what? I've already gone through those papers from BRC last night. Twice, in fact, and I'm still at a dead end. If Rebecca were here. Hell, if Isabella were still here. Unconsciously, my attention drifts toward the closed door of her apartment, and it hits me the second my eyes land on it. A split second of idea. I didn't bother looking into this when we were here the other day, considering the reason, or even during the investigation. But Cooper died. Isabella would have most likely received all the files for the Ermengarde mansion. In fact, she might not need to. They were partners, right? It's no longer a trainee-mentor thing. They both likely have the same copies of the documents. She might still be keeping some in her room. Something she hadn't been able to give us because of the tragedy. However, immediately after that thought forms, guilt also rears its head. The fact that I'm thinking about breaking into her apartment leaves an uneasy twinge in my stomach. It's wrong. All of it is wrong. Inappropriate on so many levels of propriety I adhere to. If she's here, I won't even consider this. Really now. But if she's here, will she allow it? My gaze swivels back to the door. It's as if the thing's inviting me. One thing's for sure, however. Knowing her, she'll do any possible means if it'll save her friends from this curse. She can be stubborn like that sometimes, and it's enough to harden my resolve. So, muttering a silent apology to her and swallowing my guilt, I reach up for my bobby pins and begin my work on the lock. In under a minute, the knob clicks, and I quietly slip into her apartment. Whatever I am to find at the end of this, I hope it'll point me in the right direction. Despite all the packing we did the other day, her room's still a mess of things she had accumulated over the years. Papers, instant noodle cups, a few photographs and posters we never got to include in the boxes for shipment. No matter where you look at this, the place simply has Isabella written in it. Just 5 years, and she's left this big of a mark in our lives. I'd be lying if I say her presence didn't change a lot of things. In Zach, in Rebecca, in me. However, there's no time to reminisce about all this. As nice and nostalgic those memories are, there is work to do. Things to find. If there's even any in here. I won't know that by simply standing here acting nostalgic. Wasting no time, I head straight for her study table, where a chaos of papers and folders clutter the top. There are instant noodle cups still, plus a few empty pens and crumpled paper littering the table. All points of interest in the room, but my focus veers on the laptop first. No malice intended, I'm simply looking for work files. Besides, I doubt she has anything to hide, and if it still means anything, that's exactly why Isabella has always worn her heart on her sleeve. Genuine, uninhibited, open, free. While it has often gotten her into all sorts of trouble, her candidness, that wholehearted look she has always displayed and carried with her, are things I will never have a reason to doubt. Others will say it's her warmth that draws people to her, or her cheer. Neither are wrong, but neither is the whole truth to her either. Because those who has never bothered to look beyond the surface will never see it. See her. See someone earnest. Someone who has always meant well, albeit her underlying stubbornness. See how she loves. An affection that is altogether both warm, steadfast, and unflinching. In many ways. For a lot of reasons. She's the kind of person I want to be around with. Who made me feel I am still worth something. You never meet many people like that. Not in my line of work. Always with something to hide, always with something to lie about. Eventually, when you meet too many of them, you change too. You become like them. Perhaps the biggest thing I regret about this is I never had the chance to change that before she. The laptop finally boots up and loads the operating system. Although as soon as it does, I am greeted by her password screen. If her password is ashhole, I'm gonna lose it. For a few minutes, I try my hand at a couple of obvious ones she might use. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Password 1. QWERTY. Admin. Cinnamon rolls. None of it works.
At least she knows how to use the most common ones.
This adds a new layer of problem, though knowing her, she must have written it somewhere. Not in the mess of papers here, but someplace she can quickly check. It's probably something she'll bring with her, not necessarily a diary, but close to one. I've noticed one on her person several times before. Never saw its contents, but I've seen her write regularly on them, while waiting for a meal in a restaurant or during lulls in a conversation. I just hope she's left where she's written her password somewhere here. It's the drawers I start with, from the bottom one. It takes a while going through the pile in each of the 3 layers, the bottom 2 yielding nothing but old records she's been keeping. The third one, though, yields one closer to what I'm looking for. All of the pages have already been filled.
Probably why she dumped it here.
Carefully flipping through each reveals notes from a meeting with a client. Sometimes there are doodles at the edge of the pages, others taking up an entire spread. All old ones and nothing of use to me right now, but on the last page, on a sheet folded in half... Aw, it's them. Japan... Bermuda Triangle, Korea... Clients, clients, clients. Yang yang! Do list. Eat, noodle, sleep. 707Devlin2011. Huh. Opening it reveals a doodle of the 3 of us. Zach, Rebecca, and me from how we looked about 4 or 5 years ago, give or take. At the bottom, the word scrawled in a neat script after a few telling erasures. I assume that means something to you? 707Devlin2011. Despite myself and how dismal everything going on at present, a laughter slips from my lips, uninhibited and without care for who might hear. 707 Devlin Court. I remember handling that case from 5 years ago. Even got a recommendation from Inspector Abigail and a promotion to Detective Sergeant after wrapping it up. Some morbid case of a dead husband being stuffed in a sofa by his own wife. And at the heart, I remember Rose teasing Bella about that at the beginning of the game. That's how you met Ash? This music gets me every freaking time. Isabella. Fresh off the boat, selling the first property assigned to her. That was the first one. She found a dead body in a sofa. Some sick sense of humor the universe must have, huh? Though in hindsight, if all that shit didn't happen, the 4 of us won't even be together. I wouldn't have met her. Yet, in the end, I can't even tell her. Instead, choosing to hide behind teasing words and friendly jibes, because I'm a coward who can't even convey his feelings properly, who can't even face the person he's become. Now there's only regret.
A badge, a gun, and I can't even protect my own friends.
To other people, these may just be a series of letters, but to us, to the people pictured on this page, they mean a whole different thing. Apparently, it also means a great deal to her. One sentiment that goes far beyond some sense of nostalgia. Hoping to find more information, Ashton checked Isabella's apartment for anything that would help. He merely discovered vague clues, stuff that Isabella had been looking into before her untimely death. But if anything, what he saw in the room hardened his resolve. Enough to also use it as the password for her own laptop. True enough, it works, and soon I have access on all of her work files. Nothing significant, though. Abrupt end. Nothing I haven't already found last night. Perhaps the most noteworthy out of everything is the logs she's left that night. She has taken note of every client who attended the open house and worked on the mansion, even the outside contractors. Although for what purpose? I have no idea. Should I have also looked into those last night? They didn't seem that important, though. If anything, I'll get them more looking into the deaths of those employees than some random people. Adding these clients to my list will only broaden my scope. But what if Isabella's onto something here, like with the letter? Shit. There's no more room for regret, however. Can't be me. Looking for trouble? Better not lie. I'm a cool dude. Pretty fly for an Asian guy. All of a sudden, my ringtone breaks the moment, and my attention shifts towards the source. Before I can even wallow in my mistakes, I hastily put everything back together, turn off Isabella's laptop, and leave the room to answer the phone. Hopefully there'll be some good news this time. Yeah! Unrelated frustrations aside, once I step out of the room and accept the call, the stone that has been stuck in my stomach simultaneously lodges itself up my throat. Unknown. It doesn't register as from Becca? The person on the other side of the line isn't who I'm expecting.
Right, Eli Frey, right? It's Officer Renz over at the precinct.
Oh. Hold on. Hold on, Mr. Renz. Okay, Zachary isn't dead yet, but he was arrested.
You know, you bring me donuts to keep an eye out for you and shit.
Oh, yeah, right, Renz, what's up? You've, never called me through this line before. Is this something urgent?
Yeah, kinda. Something came up this morning. You know the big guy? Your, buddy? The bloke Benjamin saw drop by here a few days ago? Big guy. Around 6 feet tall.
Zach?
I don't feel too good about this.
Yeah, him. Zachary Steele, I think.
What about him?
He's been detained and...
Wait. What?
What do you mean he's been detained?
They brought him in this morning.
That's not what I asked. What are the charges?
I don't know. Not my division.
Not my division, huh?
I'm not really supposed to be on the phone right now, but I thought you want to know. Anyway, I gotta go. If you want to see him, just drop by. Not sure how that'll work, though. The chief has a standing order not to let you into the precinct until Monday.
Yeah. Thanks for the heads up. I'll bring you some coffee to go with those donuts, too, next time.
The call ends with a click while I'm left here reeling, staring blankly at my phone.
What the hell did you do, Zach?
Still no word on Rebecca either. Looks like a trip to the precinct is in order today. I might as well make sure the big guy is okay. What other choice do I have? Sighing, I lock the door to Isabella's apartment, and within 5, I'm on my way to LPD.